I'm Robert Ashton, I'm a business author and have organised the Festival of Social Enterprise. I think society is far too quick to write people off really early on. And I think that we each reach points in our lives where we can either succeed or fail. One of the turning points for me was interviewing homeless people for a project I was working on, and this guy describing my childhood to me as his own. He was a rough sleeper on the streets, and I've been quite successful. And he suddenly realised that actually it's almost like on a knife edge, you could go either way.
It treats the poor and the disadvantaged as full citizens. It doesn't say you're needy, here's a handout. It says you're a consumer. What do we need to do to earn your custom? That is a much more respectful relationship.
The festival has several goals. I think there are people that will be cynical about social enterprise as a movement. So what is it? Is it just kind of charity too? And hopefully that they'll see that it's just a very robust business model that's very appropriate for the moment and the time.
Making a profit is not bad. It's what you do with that profit. And you get some people who put lots of their profit into helping people who maybe they can't give a job, but can help in other ways, get them trained so they can get a job and that sort of thing. I think that's one area, but it's also about the community.
We're in a society today where profit actually was one of the causes of the economic crash. But then equally, if you use profit in a different way and if you use it for a different purpose, then actually it can do much more.
If I tell you one thing today, it's get started. Get started tomorrow. Don't wait until any later. Just get started. We back about 1,000 people a year, a mix of seed funds, development support and networking in 3 of the first stages in the social entrepreneur's journey. Starting to do it, going full-time to build it, and getting investment ready to grow it. Those are the 3 things that we do. In the UK, we don't think big enough. We obsess about should it be a kick and should it be this, should we make a profit, shouldn't we make a profit. We need to think much bigger about solving the problem in whatever way it takes to solve the problem.
The other thing we do is there is a bit of curriculum behind it, because social entrepreneurs, you are at the centre of your own vision. You own that vision. That's your project. You're an expert in your idea. It's not happened before in the way that you're going to do it.
Over 400 people each year die in Suffolk of a cold-related illness. And in 2012, that's absolutely shocking.
Olive chose 6 of us to go on to 2-3 weeks work experience with her. And then 4 of us have got the job now.
Knowing there's a possible job at the end of it. But obviously, all along, obviously we've been thinking, it's only gonna, obviously out of all of us, there's only 3 of us going to actually get the job. So obviously I was thinking, I wonder who's going to get it, which 3's going to get it.
And if you've seen it firsthand, like from Olive, you can't forget it. It don't matter what you read, to see it there and to see the young boys, and what I really liked was how she was so committed to her values. She wasn't chasing the money.
It's partly you hear things that you haven't thought of yourself, so there's that stimulating new ideas in your head. But there's also hearing the same problems round and round, so you know that it's not you being an idiot not being able to conquer them, they're the difficult bits.
One of the things about crowdfunding for me is the crowd is as important as the funding. I believe that every venture, and I've been chatting to Nigel about this a bit, should develop a crowd of people behind them as their supporters, whether they're cheerleaders giving nothing or actual supporters giving money. Aggregating people behind you is a really good way to work.
So that was, I hope you agree that was just fantastic. I loved every minute of that, and I always do when I hear Michael speak. And Michael gave a superb lead-in for Nigel's section now by saying that it's not about a handout, and that is kind of part of the strapline of the big issue.
It is.
So take it away, Nigel.
Yeah, not a handout, not a hand up. It doesn't matter where you are in the scale. The first thing I think everybody looks at is look at the entrepreneur, look at the management team, because actually nobody will deliver anything unless you have that. So the first thing we look at is this a good idea? Does it help dismantle poverty? Does it help create opportunity? Does it have a business model? And we have a really light index that we put people and social enterprises, and we ask them to answer that question.
And one of the other aspects from a social purpose is quite interesting. Is if you actually look at some of the studies that have been done on sort of more of a psychological or psychology side of things, there's some really interesting things at play here. If you get to give money for free, it actually makes you happier.
So we work with businesses and other organisations who've got knowledge and expertise in order to undertake activities which drive forward the local economy.
And in a way what we've done is put our jobs on the line for that, because if we don't get that income, if we don't actually do that, these organisations won't come back to us if we don't deliver those improvements. So it's actually sharpened our game.
Listening to John Kershaw and Michael Norton was just so inspirational, and that is something we'll take away from here today.
There are lots of people with lots of experience, lots of skills that they've gleaned over 20 or 30 years of a working life, who've suddenly been made redundant. All that can be passed on to a younger generation who are in need of training, in need of skills, in need of encouragement. It all comes together.
Social enterprise to me has a really strong position in society, helping those people that are most needy. It's not a big risk. You can try it, you can do it, and if you fail a few times then you do learn, like the speakers sort of pointed out. But eventually, if you have got that determination and you're inspired with an idea, it can work.
I can go away from here today, I have lots of notes, I've networked, I have got their business cards, and they've been very, very helpful and open, and as I say, well grounded, and that's what we need when you're starting off a social enterprise scheme.
Personally, I think social enterprise is important because it is a real catalyst for change, altering the way we do business in our economy.
Point made by Cliff Pryor that it's actually all about people, not about projects. It's people who change the world and people who do things.
So it's been quite affirming today to hear some of the processes that people have gone through and some of the advice that's been given. I think just to feel, we were going in the right direction and getting some pointers for the future.
I mean, the cross-section of people we had here, we had everybody from existing social entrepreneurs to some of the leading national players in the sector, to people thinking about social enterprise, people in the public sector, and at different times of the day, a whole array of students from City College, which was great as well. And so there are lots of people who had different perspectives, and that kind of buzz and interaction. And I think also the fact that there were different spaces, so we had the more formal sessions down here, we had workshops up in the cube, which are small and more interactive, I guess, and all through the day that buzz in the exhibition area where people are just coming in off the street and just discovering social enterprise afresh, and mixing with those that are kind of moving between the areas here, so it works really, really well. A social enterprise at the end of the day is a small business, and a small business normally flies by the seat of its pants. It's normally about selling, blagging, persuading, doing, and finding ways to solve the problems as they crop up, and that's exactly what people here will hopefully be doing right now.